What's that in the sky? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's
Talk Geekly!
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Cody from Talk Geekly. I am going to be doing a world premiere of After, and we're going to be doing a live interview with the lead developer, whose name also happens to be Cody. So what's up, Cody? How are you doing? Why don't you give us a little bit of a breakdown of who you are and what we can expect from this playthrough?
My name's Cody. It's nice to meet you. I'm the lead developer for Hyperdrive Gaming Studio. Basically, my role is level design and mechanic design in the game. So just overall, the design that you'll see in today's gameplay, stuff like that. Just the overall world building.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just say I'm really excited to dive into this. I know you gave me a little bit of a taste and some teasers leading up to it. So without further hesitation, guys, let's dive right into this and let's really see the fruits of his labor. All right, everybody, we are gonna be diving in to After, and we are live tonight with Cody, the lead developer. Cody, how would you describe your game? What is gonna be setting this game apart from other games in the genre?
So a lot of games nowadays, their big focus, and you see it a lot, is nuclear wastelands and worlds that are, taken over by viruses, etc., etc. And I really wanted to avoid that trope, and our writers have that in mind while they've been writing this. And it's something that I feel is exciting for people, when it's not necessarily the same, just, okay, well, there's a virus and everyone's a zombie now, or there's a virus and everyone's dead, or nuclear wasteland, what have you. This game is actually more about like greed and how that can affect humanity, and the difference between isolation and separation.
So what would you say have been some of the more challenging parts and aspects of just coming up with like the backstory and all the lore that goes with the game?
Overall, it's okay, if you put your gun away.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So there's overall with lore, it's really intense when you're writing backgrounds for stuff, because it is what builds the world. So it's actually a lot of fun most times, because we like to get together in like a group chat, and we'll all come in on the voice and talk about it and make like some kind of note document, essentially, where we can go back and look at this and pick the ideas from that brainstorming session that we had. And when you have a lot of really great writers on your team like we do, those sessions are huge. So you can come back with multiple side quests, or ideas to build main quests off of, or just things that help drive the mechanics in the world and stuff like that. It's really cool writing lore a lot of times for this kind of game specifically, where it is right in your face. It's not like Dark Souls where it's all just written out necessarily. It is environmental storytelling, audio storytelling, as well as the visual storytelling.
So taking that from paper and putting it on screen, what's all involved in that process? Like taking and actually developing that story and giving it room to breathe.
So I would love to show you real quick. If you turn around to your, just do a 180, and then go past this garage here. There's kind of like a little mountain in front of you. So this is a good example. Just right up that mountain there, right up in front of you. There's kind of like a little path that you can head up.
Mm-hmm.
If you head up there, the whole process is really fun as well, because you have these lines that are written, and you pass them to your voice actor that's been selected for the role, and they send you a lot of voice lines back. They'll send you 4 or 5 of them. But at the top of this hill here, there's a hut that you can go into, and there's a voice recording that you can pick up and listen to.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So translating the writing to that, it's a lot of fun to have someone who's really like giving their all into this character, you know what I mean? And you can tell that, they put work into it. So it's kind of cool to see that as well. Like seeing the process from behind after playing the games that I grew up playing. It's a lot of fun.
Here we go. I don't know if it's gonna let me pick it up.
Can't look up at it. You should be able to get it from like right there if you just look up.
It's like right when it glows, right?
No, you just got to get your crosshair on it.
Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot, sorry.
Hello? Alex, if you can hear this, it's me. I wanted to record some messages for you. You always said you loved
So the process behind this is, basically passing that to the voice actor. The voice actor goes at it. They give you a couple samples and you pick the best one and workshop the other ones if you need to. And then you send that to a composer, and that composer edits that voice sample down and makes it, game ready, adds effects to it, things like that. So like here, you have the voice recording kind of effect on the voice. But you're also going to have instances where it's spoken to you in an outside area or in a building. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that at the end of the day. It's really interesting.
All right, so it looks like we have a random marker popping up on the screen. Let's go explore and check this out real quick. A good question from chat is, how long did this process take? The whole process.
So this process here, this has been in development since early 2020. I would say around January, February. We were writing story stuff and working together with the first writer. And since then, with Unreal Engine, we've just been able to rapidly develop the tools that we're using for this. It's a fantastic engine. Just the landscape and stuff like that, that tool is amazing. It just lets you create such realistic landscapes in such a short amount of time.
Dude, this is awesome. I'm like completely awestruck right now, just, traveling, and this is, oops, pretty much to the T, where, hold on, let me fix that real quick. Whoa, that's cool. It just started like, so, hold on. I think the music for me was maybe off for a little bit, because now it just started storming. Was it supposed to be like doing that the whole time?
No, it randomly starts.
Oh, it just started storming, dude. Oh my god. That is so cool. So this definitely, this has a day and night cycle and weather cycle, I presume?
Yes. It's still in development, so, there's going to be a lot of changes to it. But, yeah, the mechanics are there.
Yeah, that was, so what happened was I accidentally, I clicked off the screen accidentally and popped up my start menu, and then I actually paused the game, and then I heard the storm come. So that leads me to my next question. Is this, does the game actively keep going when you pause, or is it is it eventually going to be a standstill?
If you pause, it will just pause. If you open up the Players tab, however, and go into the Players menu, it does not pause.
Okay, I got you.
Effectively, we wanted it a lot like, The Last of Us and other games like this, where it is almost like the player stopping and thinking, rather than just like the world freezing on you. So we're trying to get that effect.
So what was some of the inspiration for the different cities and landscapes you guys created?
Mad Max is a huge inspiration for us. Yeah, Mad Max and Fallout.
Alright, so let me get back on track here.
If you head down from here to your right, there's a road right there. Over there to your right, you can head down into that as well.
Ooh, I see. So I seen a tower with some glowing red lights over there.
Yeah, there's another town just down there.
I probably should have grabbed that car by the the garage, huh?
So I'll there's actually a developer console command in here right now. If you press B, you can basically hop into your car wherever it is. Or if you press K, you'll hop into your car. So if you want to go grab it, you can and just go
What?
wherever you want to go. That's just kind of a shortcut right now for people who are testing.
Dude, this is awesome. So I definitely right off the rip love the feel of driving. It actually has some weight to it. A big thing for me with a lot of driving mechanics in games is it feels a little bit shallow. So this, on the other hand, has a lot of weight. What would you say goes into creating a game that has vehicles that are playable and drivable?
The environment is really big on it. You want to make sure that it's transversable, but at the same time, you keep these boundaries where it's like, okay, so can a player drive up a mountain, like horses on Skyrim? Or, are they going to be obstacles? So that's a really, really big part of creating vehicles, actually. The weighty, that's a lot of physics, and while the game's running and stuff like that, it's built on the environment mostly.
All right, so what's to get out of the car?
Press K.
Okay, thank you. So is this gonna be more of a single player game, or is it gonna be something where you're gonna have the capability to do multiplayer?
So we are considering currently doing a DLC if the game does well. That'll be a PvP element. It won't be anything that's like huge, but we would like to include some kind of multiplayer element in the future. But for the initial release, it will be a single player experience.
So I know earlier you were talking about dialogue options. What are we going to be looking at in terms of dialogue? Is there going to be any sort of like consequence system in place, or?
Yeah, there's a reputation system with different factions in the game. When you do things or say things to certain people, it is going to affect how the game plays. What happens to you in the game itself, that kind of stuff. So was really important to us from the start to establish that the world was going to be affected by your choices. So if you're going and you're talking to people and you're going around, you're being just generally rude, those people are going to react to that in the future when you have to come back to them and you have to ask them for something.
So right now with this game being in alpha, I mean it's still performing awesome. What are some of I guess the biggest challenges you face when launching a game and when working on it in alpha?
Overall, a lot of times before this, it's been a lot easier this time because we did have funding. We had, people behind this who were able to help us get the game developed. But a lot of times it is the budget. And when you don't have a budget, you don't have time. You're spending a lot of time, working to, fund a hobby is what it feels like. So, in this instance here, overall just equipment, the time zone differences with people that you're working with and stuff like that is also a challenge. But overall it's been a pleasant experience with this game because of investors. You know what I mean? Like when you have the money to make the game, it makes it a little bit easier to actually have some breathing room.
They'll never see me again. I'll drive up to those crossroads. The ones in the next town over. Blow this car up. It's what links us to the
So a little bit of
Um,
history for you guys. This is actually me and Cody's like second interview, really, right?
Yeah, this is my second, and overall for games in the past, I've created a couple. Nothing, as large as this or as, like I said, funded. We've created a card game. We created a physical version of that. And then I've released, various games over the years that were just small, like itch.io and the one on Steam. So I do have some games out there. But this is honestly the largest in scope game that I've ever created with such a large team.
Yeah, I remember me and you, that was like one of my very first times ever getting with someone and pulling up the game in OBS and actually playing the game and recording it and talking about it.
Yeah. The writer that did Creed is actually a writer for this game as well. We brought him back because he was fantastic for Creed, and so he's been fantastic for this game as well. So I'm really excited to have him on the team as well.
So what type of enemies and opponents or bosses are we going to be potentially looking at with a title like this?
So in this game, again, we avoided, the tropes like virus and zombies and things like that. So this is a more grounded game, in terms of like the concept and the enemies. So, you're going to be facing scavengers, other drivers, things like that. Like the world is based on, essentially the 1% decided that the 99% weren't needed once they had automated to a certain point. So they just walled themselves off, and the 99% were just left to fend for themselves, and in turn, it just fell apart. 20 years later, you're now living in Arizona, and this rich area essentially is having just as many problems as the wasteland. So it's kind of become like they have to coexist in a way, even though they're the way that they are because of each other.
So I'm not gonna lie, I feel pretty awesome that I've gotten 3 of these tapes in a row back to back. I must be on the right path or something.
Yeah, I mean, overall, what we tried to do with stuff like that was design the game so it felt more natural when you were finding things, because this game is a lot about rewarding you for exploring. So finding story pieces like that, you find those because you're checking out the gas stations and because you're checking out the, the other stuff.
And that's exactly what I look for in these type of games. Like, give me a reason to check every nook and cranny. There's nothing that's more appealing than driving and seeing like some abandoned gas station off the side of the road. How big of a map are we going to be looking at?
So this map is 64 by 64 kilometers. Overall, it's huge. So what you're seeing here, what is drivable on the map itself, I'm going to say it's about 40% of what the actual map is. We're going to be expanding on, the base that's been built here, but we need people to test the game currently, and get in there and, play it. And we'd like to build a community off of, having people kind of guide the development of this game and, say, hey, we'd like to see this, we'd like to see that.
Is there so once again, with this being an alpha, you have to keep in mind there's going to be some features and such that are not added to it as of right now. So what are we going to be looking forward to when this game comes closer to reaching the public?
So it's going to be a more story-driven experience. Right now, it's just kind of plopped into the world, and we're testing mechanics and having you run around and kind of test the boundaries of the world itself. But once the actual featured release comes out, it's going to be a story-driven game, much like Metro, where, it's open world, but you're going to be pushed in a, certain direction with main missions, and it's up to you to decide if you what order you'd like to do these missions, side or main, whichever you decide.
So this is actually the world premiere. This is the first time this game has been shown. I cannot tell you how stoked I am. My man hit me up, what was it, yesterday, and was like, hey dude, I have my game, you want to play, you want to get down and be one of the first? I'm like, say less, brother, say less. The rest was history. We pretty much set this up on the fly.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been this game's kind of been like that a lot, where it's been kind of whirlwind. It's okay, well, it went from just a small hobby little project to expanding very quickly into something that was people wanted to see and people were following. So we're pretty excited to actually get it out into the rest of the world, not just to this small community.
So we have a little, looks like a mine that we're going to be exploring right now. I just can't get over how detailed everything is in this game. It's wild. Because I remember seeing the screenshots you provided me and just getting a chance to kind of just break into it. It's such, I don't even know how to explain it. So explain, I guess explain this part. What do you foresee this being later on in development?
So like this mine here, this actually has a story purpose that it's in the game. So as we're working on the main mission and we're doing testing, what we do is we have two separate builds. We have one that we push out with the features that we're holding on to and working on, and with the fleshed out features, pushed into the other build. So basically, this mine itself actually has a main purpose in the first act. Yeah.
Dude, it's so crazy. Just to see that, like right here, all the assets and everything that are just like, I love it, man. There's so much going on, and it's
so
just,
much detail.
yes. So, is there going to be any sort of like bartering system in this? What are we going to be expecting to see with currency? I see there's a shotgun. What other type of weapons can we look forward to? Maybe different armor sets or clothing?
So we're working on several different weapons. Same with clothing and car customization. So all those things, if you open up the player's menu, you can see that a lot of it looks empty because there's features that we need to add to it still.
Mm-hmm.
So over here on the right side, we're going to have an area that you can customize your character, and then open up another menu to customize your car.
What? Oh man, this is awesome. Holy shit. I can't tell you how much I love this right now. There's places you can go where you rest that just like, but that actually like takes you and shows you like the whole entire weather cycle and day and night cycle. That was awesome.
Oh, it runs through the day and the weather. So if you do that at night, you can run into the day. So, pretty much get to any time that you need to.
So was there any game that you played that made you really want to break into game development at all? Like what was, I guess, your golden ticket that really sold you, that made you want to do this?
That's actually a really funny question. It was I had just gotten a new laptop, and I wanted to play this game that I'd seen online called SCP Containment Breach. It was some really stuttery bad build that I had downloaded, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like I could do some art stuff, man. I think I could do something like this. If this is a video game that someone made, I think I can do this. And so I looked up some stuff. Unreal Engine was free, and I basically from there learned C++ and never looked back. It's been really fun. Like just that first time looking at that, going, I think I could do something like this. I think if I put my mind to it, learn to do this. And it was just exciting to sit down and do it. And since then, it's just been something that I've loved. I'm very passionate about, and I'm really happy that I found it when I did like that.
So what is going to be going on with character development? I know right now we got to see the one guy in the garage, but outside of that, like NPCs and playable characters, what type of backstories are we looking at?
So, in this world, because of the way that the
Wait, there's something for me to pick up.
yeah,
over here.
it dropped down with everything. Basically, the lesser people who were, it's still in power. People like truckers and stuff like that who had controls of trade routes already, things like that. They actually came into power in the game. A lot of
that
stuff
makes
like
sense.
that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, you're actually
we
working for.
We found finally. So happy I just found this.
And there's a flashlight for you.
So how would I equip that now?
Press F.
F? There we
Yep.
go. Perfect.
And then your battery, if you open up the player's menu real quick.
Okay, I see the flashlight.
Yeah, it opens up with the flashlight there. And you have to add batteries to it, so those are important to collect, because once it becomes dark, it does become, dark. You're in the desert, so we kind of tried to replicate that, where once it's dark, your flashlight is something that you do need.
So let me ask you this though: the beta blockers, take for stress to the heart. Is that like gonna be our healing factor, or is there gonna be some sort of like stress factor in this where we need to take that before we like get too stressed out or frightened or something?
So there's actually in the game, part of the lore, like you were talking about earlier, is that once everything went down, the bulk of people in the United States decided, all right, well, I need to become self-sufficient, and they decided that they were going to start farming, things like that. But the average person doesn't know how to do that, and they couldn't just pick it up. And so in turn, what they actually did was they created a dust bowl in the United States. And that dust bowl has essentially caused this, disease that people develop that affects your heart and your lungs.
Oh, dude, that is so awesome.
So you have to take the beta blockers, and that's part of the reason that these truckers and other people who were in kind of like those positions of power became even more powerful because they had control of things like this. And so they start running them, and it basically becomes this entire operation where you have like people like you who are drivers, and the references that you're hearing in the recordings that you're finding and stuff like that is another driver who is basically trying to get out of the operations and is essentially killed for what he's doing. So you do find a lot of lore like that in the world.
Ooh.
You might need to duck down. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know if it wants me to read it.
Press left control.
Left control.
Yeah, crouch.
There we go. Yeah, it's nothing. Let's check that out.
Yep, and then if you just open up the players menu, you can scroll over to it with the scroll.
44, your dad. So this is we're gonna find a 44 around here, huh?
So yeah, in the featured build, that's the kind of thing that you will find is, as we add more guns to the game, you'll find, 44 when you find notes like that. And if you turn around, there's actually a representation of it with his son against the car.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like the silencer on that a lot, too.
Yeah, so that, in the future, that's going to be one of the guns that you'll be able to get.
So what is going to be the main objective of the game? What is going to be what takes the player from point A to point B?
Basically escaping your contract with the truckers that I mentioned earlier. So basically with them kind of controlling the supply, you need to find a way to get rid of this disease essentially, and there are ways to do it in the they call it robbers baron basically, but it's the mega city where the rich people are living, and if you go there you can get healed, but more often than not the people who end up going there that don't belong there, they're sold into like organ sales and body parts and stuff like that because they're seen as a piece of meat. So you have to kind of have an in to get into the city. So the main objective for the game overall is to, fix this for yourself and get out of this area by completing the contract that you owe to Boyd.
Okay, so this is pretty cool. This is a new part. What would you what's this? Is this a new city?
Vulture. Yeah, so Vulture is basically where a lot of the action takes place with the player. So when you're in here, you basically can run into Boyd's thugs, stuff like that. Essentially, it's just an area that drives the story forward.
So what type of side missions and objectives would we be looking at? Are we going to see any sort of mercenary work or assassinations?
Driving contracts, maybe not assassinations. We haven't really delved into that yet. But we are looking at things like deliveries, like taking out psychos on the road, people who are basically insane, and you have to take them out with your car while they're driving their car, stuff like that. As well as, more like world building, storytelling stuff. There's a major side mission that plays into the character's perk system that involves Boy Scout badges. And you have to find these different, Boy Scout outposts that were built by, a troop at the end of the world, or, their end of the world. And essentially each one gives you a perk. So stuff like that, like when you're building the side missions, it's really important to kind of have it like build with the gameplay mechanics. That's what you can expect.
Am I able to fight these guys right now? Would they die?
No, these are basically just, like a proof of concept.
Okay, I got you. I am digging the design though. I love the helmet. The helmet's so different, and you could definitely, it gives you that Wastelander, and there's just the dead body just still in the back.
I'm really going Mad Max, Fury Road, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was a huge inspiration for the design of this game, and just overall like the world building, you know what I mean, where it's these different settlements that are just kind of eking out their lives and stuff like that, and you're going in between them and kind of seeing the stories that are built in this world.
All right, so you mentioned a perks system. What type of skills, stats, and perks are we going to be looking at? I am a huge RPG fanatic, so this is right up my alleyway.
All right, so it's actually really interesting how we decided to do it. It works with Boy Scout badges, so each Boy Scout badge has a different effect. So a really good example is the First Aid badge. It actually increases the effectiveness of the beta blockers that you can find when you're wearing it. So you'll have that available to you in your player's menu, and you'll be able to wear a certain amount of them at a time. These are really important to the game because you can use them for stealth, you can use them for combat, you can use them for, like healing, things like that. So it is going to be a really big part of the game, collecting these Boy Scout badges and finding these outposts and caches and stashes that they've left.
To more of exploration. So this right here, what is this eventually?
This is
gonna grow
industrial
into?
ruins. So this is actually a place that you're going to be sent to a lot on missions. So basically this area.
Oh, dude, I love the graffiti.
Yeah.
So this will be like a mission hub?
Yeah, a lot of missions will, kind of push you to this area because it is kind of a larger area. There's a lot going on here in terms of like,
God, this is gorgeous.
Player interaction with NPCs and stuff. This place will be much more populated, stuff like that.
So what type of fast point system would you have? Would you say, is there going to be any sort of fast traveling at all?
So it's going to be in the player's menu. We're working on a map right now. It's basically going to use a capture system that will capture all the areas on the map, and then it'll pass back, information to the HUD. Right now, what we have as a world map, and this isn't actually a feature in the game, again, this is just kind of a little sneak peek into future features for, but on the developer side, if you press L on your keyboard real quick.
Whoa, I remember this.
So this is essentially like an Eagle Vision. If you can spin with it with the directional keys, and you can see on the map the different locations that you can visit and kind of use it to orient yourself. This isn't a fully fleshed out mechanic, so it's not something that we're really pushing people to use, but it is something that you can you can test out as a beta tester and early adopter of the game.
So that definitely, I remember that being a pretty big feature of your one game, correct?
Yeah, we were trying to make that work in that game, and we basically couldn't. You know, like overall it would have worked, but you know, in this game as well, we were like, well, let's try to bring it back because it is such a cool mechanic to just have almost like a world map that's built into a live game mechanic.
All right, so why don't you take me to one of your points of interest that you'd like to showcase?
All right, press K real quick. Go back to the car.
Where we go, we don't need no roads. And welcome to everybody that is coming into tonight's stream. Simio, welcome to the stream. Runty.
Yeah. Welcome.
How's everybody doing? If you have questions, feel free to ask them. I might not address you by name per se, but I definitely will get to your question and we'll get it asked. And then we're gonna have a little segment where we'll interact with chat a little bit more. We're gonna be trying to make this a little bit more of an exclusive video for Talk Geekly. Talk Geekly is more than honored to have Cody and the opportunity to play this game and just a chance to kind of break it down with him and get an idea of what went behind the development. So where do I go from here?
All right, so just keep heading forward here down this road.
And is there any sort of brakes with this yet?
Yeah, if you press spacebar.
Spacebar, okay.
As well as if you press S, it will brake you as well.
So with the car design, what sort of features are we going to be looking at with that? I know you said this takes a lot of inspiration from Mad Max. Is it going to be taking any inspiration from the game itself?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of car customization. So like this car that you're seeing here is a pre-order exclusive body for the car that you can get in the game. So you can actually exchange this out once we'll have the car customization menu and everything complete, as well as, you know, you'll be able to add things onto the front of the car, onto the top of the car, the back, you know, just all kinds of different features that you'll be able to add. So if you keep heading forward, yeah, pick up that gas.
The Plowmaster, so how would I go about equipping that?
So that right there is just a test feature. I actually meant to remove that. I'm gonna be honest
you're
with
fine,
you.
you're fine.
Did not mean to leave that in there. Forgot it was there. I was just testing it. So what that would do is when you picked it up, it would add it to the player menu. Again, there's features that are in active development now, and so you know there's again 2 separate builds. I've got my actual active build and my test build. So sometimes they do overlap when you're playing with them.
All right, so are we going left or right?
You're gonna go left here. You can just swerve around that road closed sign. Alright, past this gas station, and there's gonna be an area just up here where it kind of opens up to your left. Yeah, right here. So if you turn left here into the desert, and head up into this kind of valley area to the left of this little mountain, you'll see it over there. It's like an encampment, a circlement of cars.
Okay, yeah. And I gotta say too, it does like the feel of it. So it does carve you into the different directions, if that makes sense. Like just from me just playing it, like that felt natural. I didn't feel like I was like forcing myself to look for anything. It just kind of pretty much felt like within the flow of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely right. Like if you ran into that desert area and you came up around there, you would naturally see, you know, the windmill, you know, because it's kind of like a visual, almost physical landmark that you can use.
Oh, the guitar, I love it, dude. So what is going to be the story behind this?
So this is actually the first Boy Scout camp. So this place is going to use Morse code to basically tell stories about the Boy Scouts. through radios like the one behind you. That's not fully fleshed out. It's actually a part of the menu that I'm working on for the Boy Scout perks. But at each place as well, there is some world building and lore. So if you turn around from here, right behind you, there's actually a note on a box that you can find, or over on a coil.
Right here?
Over there. Keep
Bobby's
going
note?
forward next to that yellow car, right there.
Go to
And
Doc's
then,
garage.
that's nope. If you open it up, it's Bobby's note.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh man, this is wild. This is wild. I love it. It does a good job of world building. So, are we gonna be able to see Bobby within any part of the story? Is he gonna be a face we see, or is that just a note to kind of build more of the world?
So Bobby is a recurring character within these camps. He's actually one of the main characters, you could say, in terms of this world building area here. Um, so him, the troop master, and a few others, they got stranded here when everything happened, and their goal was to get back to the East Coast. So you can actually follow essentially their journey across the Arizona wasteland here, as they made their way to the East Coast. And that's kind of what fuels that major side quest. There is they left behind caches just in case they had to come back to these areas, and you're able to find them and get the items that they left behind.
So, from alpha to beta to actually launching it in store, what's the typical process entailing? How long would you say? I know everything might be a little bit different for different types of games, but I mean, just I guess an estimated swing. Like, what's the process usually take?
So for something like this is a larger scale game, so these ones always inherently take longer. You've got a lot of animation work to do, a lot of voice acting to implement, things like that. So it is actually a really long process. If you press 0 on your keyboard, it will flip over. Get back in the car, and you can flip it over with 0.
Boom. Thank you. So are we gonna see many racing opportunities? I know you said there's gonna be contracts for
that's
driving.
going to be something that is going to be in the game, is racing against other vehicles as well as vehicle combat. So you'll be able to add things like spikes to your wheels, and other stuff like that.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we may have broke something.
Wonder what you're running into. Do it from right there.
There we go. There we go. So what type of wildlife are we gonna see? This is such an open world. Is there gonna be wildlife involved?
There is. So currently, if you look at the sky and kind of pay attention to the sky, there's actually birds right now. We're working on rabbits, working on squirrels, working on other like desert wildlife, things that can affect you as well, like scorpions and different things like that you can interact with in the world. And killing those things as well will also be able to give you items that you can use.
So is there gonna be a crafting system?
So the crafting system is going to be basic, but it is going to be present. It's not going to be something that is going to be a main focus of the game.
Hey, I mean, you guys are hitting all the right notes, though. What are we gonna be expecting, I guess, in the crafting? Is it gonna just be making like med packs or stuff on the fly?
Basically being able to create a different kind of beta blocker per se, stuff like that you can use, or upgrading items that you have currently. So guns that you get in the game are going to have customization as well, so you'll be able to add things like scopes and silencers and different things like that to guns. So there's going to be quite a bit of customization there.
So I know you said this was going to be a game that was going to be similar to Metro. Are we going to see a lot of those horror aspects of it, or like monstrous
So this
creations?
game, in terms of how close it is to Metro, it's actually going to have a little more comical side to it rather than the really dark side that Metro has. So that's something that we kind of established early on in our writing, is that we wanted to kind of sway more towards the kind of zany Fallout world build compared to the darker Metro world build. But yeah, as you're exploring areas like this, some of this still needs to be built out and stuff like that. So you will find, empty houses and, unfinished areas, but, the regular stuff you find in alpha builds.
So is there going to be any room for settlement building? I know you said this is going to have a lot of Fallout characteristics as well. Is that going to be something we could look forward to?
That's something that you're not the first person to ask, actually. So that's a possibility in the future. In the base release, I don't believe we're going to have that feature. It hasn't been brought up in any writing meetings or any kind of like world building or mechanic meetings. So I don't think we're going to have any reason to build in the base release. So in the future, you may see a DLC that allows you to, build your own encampment or build upon other encampments, stuff like that. So it's not something that we've ruled out, but it's not necessarily something that we're jumping on currently.
I'm loving just the building types and structures. What are these buildings going to be? Because these look way different than your typical homes and gas stations that we're seeing.
Absolutely. So, like, in this world, part of the lore is that rather than there we go, right through that.
To let you know, it's actually right here.
Oh, okay, so it's just right at that corner.
I think it's because right there.
Yeah, it's not contacting the ground there. But yeah, like overall in this world, there was a huge technological boom that pushed everything forward very quickly. So when the Cold War happened, and other conflicts like that, basically Russia was able to take over a huge area in Eastern Europe, in China, a bunch of other countries and continents that they just basically assimilated, and in turn created this kind of mega civilization out of the West from the United States.
So what type of I guess what type of era are we going to be looking at?
So overall, it's kind of a mixed kind of weird era where there really was this alternate history kind of like turn with the world where, it was like ours up to a certain point. But, certain things happen that just completely changed the trajectory of their future.
So is this going to be one of those games where once you complete the main story, it's done? Are we going to be able to see maybe a new game plus, or is it going to potentially offer you the chance to finish up side quests once the main story's finished?
So it actually has a very interesting system for that. At the end of the game, you will have access to a second map. And that second map is essentially a whole nother area that you can explore with post-game content, as well as access to this area.
I love the storming. It adds that suspenseful feel. I know you said there's not going to be a lot of horror aspects to it, but it definitely gets that feeling and vibe going.
Yeah, I think if you press, if I remember correctly, it's U on the keyboard.
Oh, the lights? Yep, there we go.
Yeah, it'll pull on your headlights. They don't do a crazy amount, especially in the dark, but they do enough. And then you can actually do first person as well if you press Y.
Yo, so this is for real? I guess blowing my mind the more and more we dive into it. I love the first person view on it, even though I'm not the best.
I know, this is how I drive in this game a lot, is first person.
Uh-oh.
It just feels kind of...
There we go. Oh.
If you just press 0, it'll hop you out of this, and press forward while you're doing it.
There we go. We'll get it.
Little trick of the trade. We're working on, still a lot of physics stuff with the car like this, where
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you can't get stuck on stuff because the world is huge and open.
Yeah, well, I mean, keep in mind, this is literally the first time anyone's played it, probably outside of the development team.
Pretty much, yeah. Or like our testers.
There we go. We got it. Boom, baby. So, how long of a game are we looking at in terms of just main story without side content?
So main story-wise, it's gonna have 3 acts. Each act is about 10 to 15 quests. So it's rather large. Our outline right now it's very interesting to read. It's a really incredible story that, like, every time I read it, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for people to see this. They're gonna love it. So, they've taken advantage of, like the concepts and the themes of the game really well.
What was the eagle or the bird eye view? E
L.
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 Okay. I love this though. I love the fact that it puts you up there and you can kind of just see how it goes. There we go. Wanted to kind of see if we were close to it. So we're actually not too far. I like this feature a lot too. This isn't too bad.
Yeah, it needs some more fleshing out, but overall, I like that feature a lot too.
So what's your time period right now? From this point forward, how long do you think we have before I have the opportunity to buy this game?
So you can actually get the game now. If you pre-order it, you get access to the alpha. So that's, right away you can play the game right out of the box. And that buying that also gets you access to the beta as well as the full release. So we're looking at, not anytime soon that you're going to see a full release, but again, you do have access to content immediately. You get an exclusive piece of concept art as well as the vehicle that you see in the game now, which is different than, like the standard vehicle that you'll start with. So you do get, exclusive content in the game for pre-ordering.
And we're gonna have those links, below, either in the comments, pinned in the comment, or in the description. What's gonna be the asking price for the pre-order?
$19.99, so $20.
That's not bad at all, dude. That is, man. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
went
we wanted
into
to
that
keep it
price? Because this is such an expansive game. There has to be so much work that went into it. I mean, $19.99. I feel like you could easily, this puts a lot of games that come out for a lot more to shame.
Well, what we're looking at right now is trying to, get the game in front of people and, get them playing it, and we can build from there. So the asking price that we have right now, if that changes in the future, it's, it is subject to change. But, currently at this time, like, if we can get, the people that we need to play it, then $20 is a perfect asking price for us, because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about making all the money in the world as much as it is about creating an experience for the players and, creating experience for us that we, would want to play ourselves. And that's something that really goes into this is I love games like this, and I've always wanted to bring something like this to the world the way that Fallout brought to me. So I'm, really excited to see how people react to it.
So, what's one thing you would want someone who played your game to walk away feeling, or what do you hope the type of impression this game is going to make on people?
Overall, the impression I'd like people to receive from the game is that of, we've got this kind of love for this genre, and we really do want to bring something that they're going to enjoy to the game.
Man, I am just digging it. It is absolutely gorgeous. So what's been the most challenging aspect of developing this? What would you say, like, I mean, maybe top three challenges you faced recently within developing this game?
Overall time, you know what I mean? Like, just trying to make sure that you stay on track.
Question mark here. So we got
That's
time.
to guide you to this location.
What was that?
That question mark just guides you this to locate to
Oh,
this
okay,
location.
I got you. So we had time being an issue. Anything else? You know?
The scope. You know, when you're making a game like this, overall, the biggest issue that you're gonna find is you don't want to make it so big that it's unmanageable, that it's something that, you know, is gonna kind of like bloat out of your hands and become uncontrollable. So you have to kind of control where it's going and control like how the mechanics are gonna work in the game and stuff like that, so that you don't go over your personal or monetary budget.
Man, I just cannot stop myself from exploring this deeper and deeper. I'm not gonna lie, man. This game is like just blowing my expectations left and right. What you know, on a final note, because we probably should be wrapping this up here pretty soon. Excuse me. What would you like to lead off with? What are you looking forward with this project? And what can we see from you in the future, potentially after this? Like, what type of game would you like to get into after this one's completed?
Overall with this game, you can expect a lot. There's a lot of features that are coming from us and stuff that we need to add to the game that we're really excited about. And in the future, you know, I think you can expect even more experiences. And, you know, if we can, you know, build off of this project and build off of, you know, a player base or even just a community that we can make, then, you know, we will have the ability to bring something maybe even better in the future than what we're working on now. And that's our hope.
Yeah, man. And I think you guys are gonna just absolutely just hit a home run with this title. You know, for the asking price as it stands right now for what you're offering, what this game has, I mean, man, this is awesome. I cannot wait to dive into a more fleshed out world. This has been Talk Geekly's world premiere gameplay of After. We're here live with Cody once again. Cody, we really appreciate the time and the opportunity to play this. And once again, man, we look forward to working with you in the future.
No, don't problem, man. I appreciate you having me on here, and you know, we're periodically updating the game, so you know, new stuff is coming here very soon. Like I said, with 2 builds, you never know what's going to be in the next update. It could be, you know, something huge, and that's what's really exciting about making a game that people are able to play from the start. Is as you release stuff, you know, it can really change the game for them each time that they open it up.
No, absolutely, man. And it definitely, you could feel the passion and the love you have for this project. So I think with the lead developer that's just so in love with the game, I think we're going to see great things from you guys in the future. So guys, with that being said, that does wrap up tonight's world premiere. As always, you can catch us on our respective social medias at Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube at Talk Geekly. And as always, guys, keep it geekly.